All of the food we eat and much of the clothing we wear comes from plants and animals that are raised on farms. Farms are different in type, in size, and even in name.
Welcome to Barn Talk. What happens at the barn stays in the barn, but not today. We're going to let it all out for you guys. Today is going to be a Q&A episode. So if you guys want any of your questions answered on this podcast ever, you got to submit them at barntalkshow@gmail.com, and they'll get featured on a Barn Talk Q&A. We got some really good questions today. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, you guys know the drill. Pay the fee. If you get any value from the show, all we ask is for you to share it out with your friends, family, coworkers, employees, whoever. It's kind of the ticket to admission to watch or listen to the show, and we don't run ads to promote the show. It's all because of you guys and organic growth. That's kind of what we believe in. So thank you to everybody that's been doing that. Also, feel free to leave a review on Spotify or Apple. Since our last episode, and since I gave a little bit of a Apple versus Spotify competition, started putting a stick at
prod.
I got a prod. I started getting the prod out there and lit a fire under some people's asses. But you guys killed it. We had a lot of good reviews that were left after last week's episode. So, again, if you guys want to, please leave a review on Spotify or Apple. We're up to 740 now on Spotify, and we're up to 326 last time I checked. So, thank you to all that have been doing that. If you want some Barn Talk merch, you can get it in the link in the description if you're watching on YouTube, or link in the show notes if you're listening. Without further ado, we got a nice market update going to be done by no other than El Conquistador himself.
C.S. Verdad.
There you go.
A nice market update. Won't be too fiery today. The market's down today. I think the markets are trying to find support somewhere with exports, because exports haven't been good. And cold around. I don't think corn progress. We all went crazy. Everybody had good weather in the Midwest here, and we're gonna plant this shit. We're gonna get done. We're gonna be done in a week. And then we all started planting, and then that rain came, and this week has been pretty much cold and crappy. There's a few guys actually brave out there planting. I wouldn't say field conditions probably not ideal, but not too bad. Obviously, well enough to go, but we haven't planted anymore since a week ago. We're kind of waiting it out, but we'd like to get back in there. But, markets. Corn, $6.67 was the best bid I could find local, and that's probably going to flip because we flipped to, is it July corn? We were on May. I think it's July. I don't know if they do June or not. I can't remember. Anyway, 6.14 is where the market closed, so we went to a new month. Beans, 15.02 at the river. 14.98 in Burlington, and my printer ran out of ink, and I don't know what they closed out on the board, but they closed real close to that 14.98, I want to say. Maybe 14.88. I don't know. Anyway, down today. Wheat, 6.61. Hogs, 76.75. The bloodbath in the hog business just keeps going. Meanwhile, the cattle guys, if you got feeder cattle, you got cattle going to market. I'll send you my tax ID number. We're a charitable donation. If you want to make a donation to the Torque Whistler Political Action Committee, I'll send you some sort of printed off fake document that says that it's tax deductible. Thank you for your support. Oil, $77.78. Gold, $1,993. Gold went up, got over $2,000 an ounce, and then kind of petered out. Silver, $23. Bitcoin, we went to like 31,000, and man, everybody came out of the woodworks like, it's going. This is a bull run now. We're going. And today it's 27,300. So we ran out of our bull run a little bit. Ethereum, $1,843. And Tesla had their earnings report, and they didn't like it. They did not like it. Gross automotive margin got down to 19%. I think, and it was at maybe around 23%. and they're cutting prices, and the sky's falling. Even though Ford they have a margin of about 4%, and GM has a margin of maybe 6%. 19 not enough, so they're
Critics are out for blood.
slamming it. But Elon, he
Just
don't
on
give a
sale,
shit.
baby.
Yeah,
Just on
it is
sale.
on sale. I would be buying more. This is not financial advice, and we do still have our disclaimer, don't
It's
we?
in every video.
I got to have my cover.
Yep, I
Gotta have
know.
my cover. I would be buying more probably at these prices, and if they go lower, I probably will go comb the ditches for a few more cans and see if I can buy a share or two. Elon, though, he don't care because he launched Starship on 420, and it went off. It cleared the launch tower, and it didn't make it to orbit, and they had a few problems. They had to push the panic button because it didn't separate, but still, most powerful rocket ever successfully launched, and I don't think people realize a little space.
We're going to
I don't
Mars.
think people realize the gravity of the situation.
All right, that
So
was a good
we need
one.
the laugh
That
track
was a
for
dad joke.
It was a dad
That was
joke.
good. That was good. I agree with you on that. I think that space travel it was really cool for a while, and then now it's just not talked about enough.
Nope. It's going to be, though.
Yeah,
gonna get
if
her.
we go to a different planet, then people might start paying attention again.
I think we're headed in a good direction on that.
Elon is just seeing what's all going on, and he's like, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here.
We don't talk enough about. Well, I shouldn't say that. We do talk about positivity a lot. I feel like we've kind of been in a little bit of a rut of doom and gloom because the hot topics have not been super positive lately. But it's Friday here in the barn, and I'm having a damn good day. I am excited for the future. Just full disclosure, we got so much shit going on that some days we can't, well, most days I can't keep it straight. And once in a while, Sawyer will just sit down on a 5-gallon bucket in the hog building and just go, damn.
Yep. It's
a
true.
lot.
You just got to take a breath
It's a lot.
sometimes. Got to take a
But-
breath. But,
Days like today, you feel like a win.
yep.
And these are wins. We can't really talk about them yet.
Nope.
But we will as soon
Got
as
some
we
stuff
can,
in the works.
As soon as we can, we will share. And probably because we got so much stuff going, I had all planned the Whiskey Minute today. It's going to be the Whiskey Hour because I just said I need an old fashioned. So I broke out my faithful bottle of Knob Creek single barrel, and there's a little frost left on it. It is a freezer old fashioned. I made a whole bottle of old fashions, and I love doing that. It's so handy. You just make a batch in the bottle, and it has your bitters and it has your simple syrup, and I make my own simple syrup because I'm bougie like that, and put a little cherry juice. I was in such a rush, though, I didn't have time to grab an orange peel. So
You fucking rookie.
if you think I'm lively now, just
you
wait,
rookie.
wait till we get to the golden nugget. At the
I
end.
know. I'm like, you're already feeling good.
So
But
we're
we'll
going
see.
out for
You're going to feel no pain by the end of this deal.
we're going out for dinner tonight. And when I came up here, I went to pour it, and I might have poured it a little bit heavy. And Sawyer just looks at me and goes, "Are you driving tonight?" Or he goes, "Are they picking you up?" Some friends of ours, we're going out for dinner with them, and they're driving. He goes, "Are they driving?"
Yeah, I was
apparently-
like, that was a heavy pour there, buddy. Jeez.
But anyway, I think I'll be fine.
You'll be good.
And
no pain.
We're glad that you're all here. And you know what? Just stay positive. There's
Yep.
still a lot of good stuff in the world.
There is.
No better place to be living than here, even though there's a few more crazies than what there was. Probably going to be more tomorrow, but somehow we're all going to get through.
Yep.
So you got any good questions? Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I'd like for you to start it off.
All right. Some of these I might have to squint at because, like I said, the print's getting pretty light. It's time to make a trip to
And I want
Walmart.
to say one more thing before you get started. Guys, when you ask us questions, feel free to ask about anything you want. It doesn't have to just be about farming. It doesn't have to be just about politics. It can be anything you guys want to know, anything that you think we might be able to give some value to you guys on. Just shoot it. Just shoot it. We're open book. So just wanted to throw that out there.
We're not necessarily knowledgeable, but that's never stopped us.
Exactly. We'll answer them to the best of our abilities.
This is a good question.
Yep.
Although it's, you're getting old.
I know.
gonna be hard for you
I
to
don't think
answer
I can
this.
answer this one in a couple years.
So Brett asked, Sawyer, any tips on making the transition from high school to real-world adult life, no college?
With no college. Yeah, that's a key point, because I think this is something that's not talked about enough. Like, I follow a lot of people. I've watched a lot of podcasts. Let's do a lot of podcasts. This is something that's not talked about because I think it's pretty rare. So all if you've listened for a long time, I didn't go to college. I jumped right into the farming operation when I was 18. And when I was in school, that was frowned upon. I was told by pretty much everybody that I was making a mistake, that I need to go into college just as a backup plan. What if technology takes over farming and you're not useful anymore? You're not needed on the farm. They were just throwing in what if. And, it was one of those decisions that's pretty hard to make. It's not the easiest when everybody's telling you to go one way and you go the other way. But, it was not the easiest thing when you go from being with your friends all the time, social, to like nothing very quickly, because it turns on a dime. You graduate, you have that summer, and then all your friends are gone. If they go to college, most of your peers will probably go to college or wherever they're going, and you're just there. And you have to now go from being a young, dumb high school kid to, what's up, buddy? You're in the real world now. And that is a transition that I think is a little bit easier in college. You go and you have to mature a little bit, but it's not to the extent of the adult world, I believe. You meet new people. You still have that social aspect. You still go out, have a good time. Not saying I never did, but I didn't go as probably regularly as my buddies that were in college, which if I was in their situation, I would have done the same thing. Anyway, my tips for you, because I know it was for the first couple months, maybe even the first year, that was tough. That was really hard to be alone, be isolated, living by myself, not having many friends around me. I'd go up and see my buddies occasionally, but, it's not like anything that you were used to. I would say the faster that you can develop a routine, rituals, whatever, to become the best man you want to be in the future now, you're going to be bounds and leaps ahead of anybody else, any of your peers that go to college or that graduated with you, or any kid competing at 18 years old with other 18-year-olds. If you can find a passion, you find where you want to go, and you develop habits to get you to go to that place and do them day in and day out and really focus in on yourself, that will help you escape the thoughts that you have in your mind because I remember being like, did I make the right decision? I always would second guess myself, like, did I make the right decision? Should I have gone to college? And it took me a while to realize that I did make the right decision, but I just kept myself busy. Keep yourself busy. Keep working on yourself. Like, I remember one of the outlets that I went to was the gym. The gym became a really big hobby for me because it was just a good way for me to work on myself and let my mind just take a breather and not have to think about anything. And so that was an outlet for me. But working on your health, your wealth, your happiness, your relationships, trying to focus on learning something new every day, working on your health, working on your career, finding out what that's going to be, and developing habits early on in your life to set you up for your late 20s, 30s, 40s, dude, you're going to be bounds and leaps ahead. So that's my advice to you. And I'm almost done. I know I've gone long, but
you're fine.
I think it's also funny about high school specifically is you are measured on three things of how you're going to turn out as an adult. As far as how successful you're going to be as an adult is based off three things when you're in high school and you're in that world. Your ACT score, your GPA, and your extracurricular activities, how successful you are at those things. And I get it, you're young, those are about the only metrics you got to really worry about, but I just think it's so funny that, because I remember when I was in school, I was pretty middle of the road student. I loved the social aspect of school. I didn't apply myself as much as I probably should have. And my GPA reflected that. I turned in a lot of late homework. I like to have fun. I love the social aspect. And I was just getting by. ACT score, had to get the bare minimum score you had to get, 18, to get into most colleges. Got that. And then I'd say I was a fairly decent athlete. I was a good athlete, but I wasn't a great athlete by any means.
Hey, thanks for sticking with us. This episode is brought to you by the Propane Education and Research Council. If you were recently affected by the tornado outbreak, you'll want to hear this. Our partner, the Propane Education and Research Council, PERC for short, is offering financial assistance with replacing equipment or rebuilding operations from storm damage. Now through the end of the year, producers can save up to $10,000 off of new propane irrigation engines, building or water heating systems, power generators, or flame weeding systems through its double propane incentive program.
To apply for savings, visit propane.com/farmincentive/barntalk. There, you can complete a simple online questionnaire, view eligible equipment and amounts, and see if you qualify for double amounts, which is verified using zip codes and National Weather Service data. Get started at propane.com/farmincentive/barntalk today. Now, let's get back to the podcast. I felt like when I said I was going to go farm and be a hog farmer, everybody with my 3 metrics, everybody based me off of that and what I was going to choose right out of high school. And they said, well, he ain't going to amount to shit. He's just going to be a hog farmer his whole life. Those are the whispers. That's the chatter you hear. And maybe some people will say it to your face because they're assholes and they'll tell you ain't going to amount to shit. I don't know it, whatever. But just use that shit as fire. And I'll just say this. I think it's just weird that we measured those 3 metrics in high school when what is the one metric most people measure people's success on in the adult world? What is it? Money and what you own. What you own, what you look like to people that money buys, that's how people look at you as far as how successful you are or how intelligent you are. If somebody makes a shitload of money, you automatically kind of assume that they're probably a smart person, right? But we go to high school and there's nothing being taught about money. There's nothing being taught about how finance works, how to invest, how to save money, how to balance your checkbook, how to do any of that shit. And I just think it's so ass backwards sometimes. I really think about that and I'm like, if you can learn how to make money and you can learn how finance works, and you can learn how to invest or how to start a business or run a business or have skills to really help and work for a business and make a lot of money, that is so essential to everyday life, and you'll be set up to have a pretty good life. I know there's other things that make a successful life, and that's not really my definition of a successful life. It's just money. But having money is a really great first start to being on the successful path. And I just think so don't let people get you down. If you're in that situation and you're going into it, work on yourself. You'll be bounds and leaps of everybody else. And if you can work on trying to make some money, that's what really matters in the adult world as far as when people look at you as, are you intelligent or are you not? Are you successful or you're not? Money will shut them the fuck up and they won't say shit if you have money. So I'm just saying, and I'm just saying, I'm just keeping it real. That's not my full definition of success by any means. I don't think money is everything, but it does. You got to admit, the masses of the world, when they look at somebody and they see what car they're driving or what's on their wrist, what watch is on their wrist, and if it's nice, he's successful, he's rich, he's intelligent because of the shit he has. That's just my opinion anyway.
But a lot of people play that game.
Yeah, status game is not a game you want to play.
You do not want to get into that.
But I'm just saying that's what people base people's success on is money. Anyway.
I'll give you my 2 cents on that. I think you were alluding to this, but as far as starting a routine, one thing that you didn't do and that I didn't do when I was in high school, I did not enjoy reading. I did not like reading. Because everything that I was forced to read was not anything I was interested in reading. But find find something that is interest you and learn to discipline yourself to spend time learning to enjoy reading about whatever it is. And that's worth a lot. And if you're going to spend the time to read anything, take notes. Don't buy a book. If you buy a book, write in it. If you take it from the library, write in a notebook. But if you bought the book,
annotate it.
Just write in the book because that's your book. Use it. And then the other thing I'd say is get up early.
Yep.
Get up early because if you can develop a routine that you work on yourself, you get up early, opportunities will come. And I can't remember what the other thing. The other thing I'll say is a young kid, if you're going out and you're trying to find a job, any job, or you're trying to find a job within the realm of what you think you're interested in, we say this all the time. One, don't be afraid to ask. Do not be afraid to ask somebody for a job, for information, for a chance, because you know what? A heck of a lot of people, especially in the younger generation, they cannot look you in the eye. They're timid. They're afraid to talk to people. They're not good at communicating because they've spent too much time in front of a screen. If you can look a man in his eye or a woman in their eye and express to them that you're genuinely interested in working for them or for an opportunity or for whatever, I'd say
goes a long way.
Odds are that person is probably, they may not give you the answer you want, but they're probably going to help you because so few people, one, are willing to ask, and two, can look somebody in the eye and communicate. Mm-hmm. That would be my advice.
I mean, I always just think about it, and I'm not perfect by any means as far as my routine and my rituals. Like, I don't even have it down yet. I think that constantly changes as your life changes, but I always strive to set my life up in a way that when I become a dad someday, I have these things that I've been doing since I was 23 years old, 20 years old, that are just part of my daily routine, that are foundational, that make my mind, make me smarter, make me stronger, my body, my health, or make me work on what I want to work on as far as career or business or whatever. If you can get those habits developed now, when you get a family, it's going to make it that much easier to keep those habits going because you've just been doing it for so long. And there's so many guys that I've listened to that have said that. If you can start early in developing and cultivating those habits and who you want to become, it's so much easier later down the line when life throws more curveballs at you, because it's going to be really hard when you're 40 with kids to start saying, I'm going to start going to the gym every day now. Well, you know how that goes. There's kids and all kinds of shit that's going to happen that's going to make things go awry. But I would just say what I try to do is learn something new every day, whether that be a podcast, whether that be a YouTube video, whether that be reading. I try to work on my health. I like to go to the gym. Not saying I go to the gym every day, but when I can, I'd like to go to the gym. And then 3 to 5 critical tasks working inside your business, or if you're working for a business, try to move yourself forward in that business. If you can do 3 to 5 tasks inside whatever you're doing in your career, work on your health, work on your getting smarter, that's a good fucking day, in my opinion. And if you do that day in and day out, you're going to see results. So that's my 2 cents, man. I hope that helped. And I hope that whatever decision you choose to go down, I don't know if you've already made the decision or if you're in high school, that you prove yourself right in whatever decision you choose. And it might take some time to prove yourself right, but if you do the right things, I think you will. So
always get up early. When you have kids, you got to get up early, because if you're not up before your kids, they'll be plotting ways to overthrow you. You don't want that. So get up. Got to get up before the kids.
What do you do now?
Well, I can't fix you now. Yeah. I've done all I could. Yeah. So now it's like I should be sleeping in every day, but I'm still worried about what you might be doing, so I try to get up.
Jacob asked about wet dry feeders. What are they like? What do we like? What don't we like?
Yep.
Anything he should know about them, because he's thinking about getting them.
Yep. Okay, so we have wet dry feeders at Sawyer's site, at our other sites, we have dry feeders because when we started building barns, that was kind of the standard. When I sold buildings, when I worked for Precision, we used about everybody's. We used Crystal Springs. Crystal Springs is kind of the original. They were out with a wet-dry feeder really before everybody else. They've been making Crystal Springs forever. And then John O'Mara got in the game, and then SDI. I'm sure there's others. And then the brand we use is Bramer out of Nebraska. And we should get free coffee from them or something. We got to get something out of them because
They'll take us out for dinner.
they should take us out for dinner. So we're not a paid spokesman for Bramer feeders, but we should be. I really like them. I really like that feeder. When we made the decision that we were going to go wet dry in Sawyer's barn, that was the brand we chose. And if I had to give the biggest dig on wet dry feeders that people have is plugging. So, you have a shelf that the pigs shake the feed off of that shelf down into the pan, and they can decide if they're going to eat it dry or they're going to mix it with water or whatever. But what happens is you get pigs that have a mouthful of water and they're eating the feed off of the tray, and then the moisture wicks up into the gap wherever you've got the gate shut that's letting feed onto that shelf, and it plugs. The other problem that just about everybody's feeder has is at the end of that shelf, the shelf has to move. There's some mechanism in there that allows the shelf to move, and that's what shakes the feed off into the pan. Well, at the ends, at the corners, most wet-dry feeders, the hopper is open all the way to the end of that tray. And so when the pigs are small, and even to some extent when they're big, you get a lot of feed that rolls off the edge of that tray, and the first hole on each side, it's hard to get that feeder to keep it consistently adjusted because you've got some feed that come off the edge. So all of that to say, when Bramer set out to build their feeder, those are two things that they tried to adjust or tried to address. So the first thing they did is down in the hopper, they weld a triangle piece in the end of the hopper on the feeder, and that way feed can't fall directly on that edge of the shelf and roll off the end. So that helps that. The other thing that they did was on the shelf itself, there is a piece of cut stainless steel that's kind of serrated. I guess I'd say it looks like a pair of hedge clippers. And there's a piece, so if it's a 4-hole wet dry, there's 4 pieces. Well, there's 8 pieces, one on each side, each hole, each section. And when they move the agitator to move the shelf, it moves that serrated piece back and forth. And the idea of that is that it keeps, if there's moist feed on there, it keeps it moving and it doesn't wick up into the hopper. So are they perfect? Are they perfect, Sawyer?
They're not perfect, but they're damn good.
But they are damn good.
I mean,
if you
it's not bad. I just think that like what we've done is we don't turn the waters on right away when the wiener pigs get there. And some say, and we might try it next time. We thought about maybe we'll try it different next time. We'll just have them on when they get there. But what we heard is some people said that when the wiener pigs arrive and they're not used to those feeders and you got the nipple bars down, they will clog up that tray really, really fast that has the feed on it. And you'll have to go through every feeder and unclog it. We just don't even try that. We haven't even tried that. So we just shut the water under the feeder off, mat feed them, let them just get the feed out of the feeder with no water and drink out of the nipple bar. And then in like 2 weeks, we'll turn them on. And really, the clogging of the feeder is very minimal. Like I'd say when you turn the feeders on, the water's on the feeders, I'd say I had like 5 last time that I did it.
Yeah,
out of 40, you know.
Yeah.
It's really not that bad. And it's something that I always try to keep in mind when I'm walking pens. I'm looking at the tray, just making sure it's not plugged up. But seriously, most of the time it's not. It's really not. Just something to keep an eye on.
And let's face it, you're supposed to be walking your pens every day.
Yep.
If you're a good hog producer, you need to walk those pens every day anyway. Yep. So of the brands that are out there, we're very happy with Bremer's. That's what we use.
I will say the one thing that I don't like about the Bremer is the tabs that hold the feed tube in place.
Oh, yes.
Those come off very easily. Yep. They can get blown off by a power washer like that. And sometimes I think they just come off because they're just not on there very tight like a dry feeder's, that plate that moves that keeps the feed tube in place.
So we have there's two tube holders.
Yeah.
We have 2 feed lines dumped. We have 2 drops into each feeder so we can fill the feeder fuller. And each feeder has 2 tall tube holders. And Sawyer's 100% right. So if you get a pig that gets up on the gate, they'll push on one side of that tube holder. We've never had it where they've gotten a tube out of the feeder, but we've had them where they get those tube holders loose. So that's something to keep in mind. Some people don't run tube holders. They just run the tube a little longer down into the feeder, and then you run your feed system more often.
And you can do that. I mean, so you could easily do that. And we've done that when they get the tube holder off. Sometimes we don't put it right back on. We just leave it, and it does just fine. But that's the only thing, and that ain't even that big of a deal. So,
but I'm definitely sold on the wet-dry feeders in the fact that Sawyer's manure analysis versus my barns, we get a lot better. We get a lot better fertility. The fertility level in his manure is a lot better than mine. In other words, if we're putting on 5,000 gallons to the acre on my fields, we can put 4,000 gallons to the acre out of his barn and get the same amount of fertility. So you're hauling less water. There's no doubt about it. And if you're somewhere where you're paying for water, I mean, we're all paying for water if you have a well and you have all that. But if you're somebody and you're on rural water or you're on a deal where you're paying for water, wet dries are a no-brainer, no matter what brand. And let's face it, I mean, these guys know what they're doing. They all have their quirks. And, you know, you like what you like. And we really like the Bremers, and that's not to say that, you know, everybody else's is all right, too.
I just feel like the wet-dry feeders kind of got a bad stigma because of the past. And, I mean, the ones we got work really good.
Yep.
Don't clog up a lot. And the only downside I'd say is the feed tube holders occasionally come off.
Yeah,
seriously, that's about the only thing that really can piss me off sometimes.
Yep.
But that's very minimal.
And we'll definitely, like my oldest barn, we can't do it yet, but whenever I can afford to do it, I'm going to switch out my dry feeders and my cup waters. Just not having cups on the gates alone is awesome. That's one thing I love about the wet dries is having your water and your feed together. You don't have cup waters. You don't have waters on the gates. The pigs aren't going back and forth from the feeder to the water, the feeder to the water.
Less slat wear there. But the other thing that I will say, more wear on your feeder pad if you have feeder pads.
Or on your slats right by the feeder.
Right, or on your slats right by the feeder. That is something you got to keep in mind because there's going to be all the traction is going to go there instead of feeder to cup. So keep that in mind.
Definitely.
I'll have to epoxy my feeder pads more often than Dad will.
Luke asked, what are the best social platforms to be on in 2023?
So we've touched a little bit about social media for this year. We've had some questions that come in, and I love talking strategy about social media. It's one of my things that I like doing. But the way our strategy is set up, I guess, for social media is, we've said it before, we like to make the long form content. We like to take that long form content, make it once, because we don't have all the time in the day to go into the barn and shoot a clip here and shoot a clip there and shoot a clip here and shoot a clip there. We want to maximize our time, and we feel as if sitting down and shooting a long form podcast is really effective with our time, because that podcast could produce 15 to 20 short form clips that then we can reproduce on TikTok and all the platforms that you can post short form content. And it's the same thing with This Will Do Farm. We'll do the same thing there. And that allows you to be on all platforms, and you want to be on as many platforms as you can, because you don't want to be beholding to just one platform. If they turn you off or whatever, you're screwed and your brand's gone, right? And also, these platforms are firing off at different times all the time. I mean, we just went from a time where Instagram and Facebook were completely dead. You couldn't grow worth a fuck on either one of those. And now, Facebook is one of our best growing platforms, and we're posting on there almost daily. And Instagram's starting to make a comeback on organic reach too. And I'm talking about organic reach because we don't have any money to go
We're not promoting.
We're not promoting ads. We don't want to do that because we almost feel like, I don't know. You guys might relate to this, but I feel like when you see an ad, very rarely does an ad get me to be interested. But if it does, I'm half interested. It's not the same when you come across somebody organically and then indulge in their content. So we want to create real relationships. So the platforms that I think are, if you're talking strictly organic reach, like you're just starting out, you don't have much money and you want to grow, I think TikTok is still crushing it, still a really great platform. If it doesn't go away, it's gonna
Great reach to
great
organic reach.
The organic reach on all these is really good. TikTok, Facebook fan page. If you got a Facebook page, post Facebook Reels every day because they're just crushing every day. YouTube Shorts. We've seen some growth with YouTube Shorts, and it's pretty good if you can get a video to pop. And then I would say Instagram is one to watch because just in like a month, like literally this month, we've been posting on Instagram consistently because we post on all the platforms. We have not seen shit for growth. But just in this 1 month alone, like we've grown by like 2,000 followers or 500 to, I can't remember exactly. I think it's 1,000. It's 1,000 to 2,000 followers, yeah. Which does not happen. Like that hasn't happened in a long, long time. So Instagram's one to watch. Those are my 4 recommendations for you as far as where you should go.
What do you think about Rumble?
Rumble is one to watch. I mean, YouTube kind of has the market, and one thing that I'll give YouTube credit for, and they're not like this with every creator, because I know the Nelk boys out there get canceled and they can't even put like one of the people that were in their squad on YouTube, or else their channel's completely banned. So they do have some strict guidelines, but what I respect about them is when it comes to what we do in animal agriculture, they've yet to like demonetize us or anything, like, which I respect. And so I just feel like Rumble, Rumble is one of those platforms to watch because it is long form. I think it's long form videos. It's kind of like YouTube. Mm-hmm. But until YouTube, if YouTube really fucks up, which they could, then I don't know. I don't see it. Or if somebody gets banned, like if we got banned, I think you can create an audience on Rumble. Because if you're like, I got banned here, come to Rumble, people will go to Rumble if they really like you. So it's one to watch, though. Who knows? That's the other last tip I'll say is always be on the lookout for what's coming so if you're going to play in the social media game, you got to know what's coming. You got to know what platforms are working. You got to know what's coming up. And I'm not saying seize every new platform that comes out on social media, but if you're hearing people chatter about it and say, I'm seeing some really good growth on here, time to get on that platform and start posting.
Yep.
So
what about Twitter?
Twitter, I also respect in the fact that they are a free speech platform. We talked about on the last Hot Topics, TikTok is one of those platforms that we see all this chaos going around the world. But Twitter, since Elon's taken over, you can see a lot of shit going down in the world on Twitter too. And it's nice to see freedom of speech back on there. My only thing with Twitter is it's just not the best platform for me because I'm not a writer. And their video content isn't where other platforms are yet. But if they can make video content more digestible on there, more appealing to people on there, it becomes more popular. It's definitely one we'd go way harder on. It's just the video, it just doesn't, they don't like incentivize people to post videos on there. It's more just tweets.
So if any of you follow us on Twitter, hey, thanks for that, because that's kind of my baby. Probably if you now you know that, you know why it's kind of like inconsistent. I'm pretty consistent about I post the link to the podcast and to This'll Do, but I'm not real consistent on getting shorts or reels on there, short clips. But I feel like Twitter could be, at some point, I think Twitter will be great, and I think the reach will get a lot better. That's why we're on there, and I just keep plugging away. And I think there's a lot of potential there. There's a lot of stuff that they want to do. And yeah, to what Sawyer said, just keep experimenting because you just don't know what's going to work for the audience that you're going after. But I feel like, yeah, you kind of got to be everywhere. But when you figure out what works for you, definitely concentrate on that. But you do not want to be kind of beholden to one platform because you just don't know when it's going to go away. Sorry to interrupt, but if you think this is good, you should check out our YouTube channel. This'll Do Farm. Like and subscribe. All right, let's get back to it.
And there's so many. I mean, the 3 pillars of success is content. Like, I don't think you can get into content in the content game and not. If you're going to get into it, just understand it's another job. Like, it's a high. If you want to do it, you got to do it at a high level because you have to be consistent every day, almost every day. You got to be posting. And some like YouTube long form videos, we don't post every day. This podcast, we don't post every day. Once a week, maybe twice a week on This'll Do Farm sometimes. But all the other platforms, we're posting just about every day with the clips, right? And you have to be consistent. It has to be good content. And being on all platforms, this is something that I think is a foundational step because not only are you not beholden to one platform with your brand, but also you don't realize, I don't know why I didn't realize this earlier, every single platform that you post content on, you're getting different people. You're getting a different audience on that specific platform. They might all have similar demographics as far as what kind of people they are, but they're most likely different people.
Yeah.
If you think about your own personal social media use, how many people do you follow on every single platform? Not very many. Not very many. You might follow somebody on 2 platforms, but not like all. So there is a little bit of cross-following between people, but more than likely, somebody is only following you on one platform, right? And so that's where being on all platforms matters because you got to look at it as like, damn, we got this many followers on Facebook, and these are all different people, and then we got this many followers on Instagram, and this is all different people, and then we got this many followers on YouTube, and might be all different people. I mean, when you look at it like that, it's like, damn, yeah. And like I said, all these platforms are hitting differently. Like YouTube might go on a run and your organic reach might be insane on YouTube again. And it's good that you're on there building videos for years because when it pops off again, you'll have a whole plethora of content that people can watch. So it's just, yeah, those are kind of my 3 pillars of success. But I am going to say one thing to top off the social media content shit. Facebook kind of did us dirty on the This'll Do Farm Facebook page because we grew like a weed. I think we grew from like 15,000 to like now we're up to 80,000 followers, 82,000 followers in like 3 months, 2.5 months, which was insane. That just gives you credit on how insane the Facebook organic reach is, so get on it. But then they demonetized us. And then this is the thing that I hate about the social media platforms, Meta specifically. I can't get in contact with anybody about why we got demonetized. They give you a policy form that has all these different reasons as to why maybe you got.
It could be any of these.
It could be any of these reasons, right? And it's just a form that they send out to people when they get demonetized. But literally, no customer service. Cannot reach out to a rep at all. Cannot get any one-on-one contact with somebody at Meta to ask why did we get demonetized. I personally believe it's because they're liberal as shit. Probably have some animal rights activists working for them, and they don't like that we're farming the way that we farm, whatever, because we post everything like we post on every other platform. But that's my point. Why are you demonetizing us, but YouTube doesn't, that TikTok doesn't, that Instagram doesn't? I mean, it's just like, and like Meta's owns Instagram, so I don't get why. It's so weird. But anyway, kind of pissed off at Facebook, but we're not in it for the money. That's the thing. We're in it to provide real value to people. We really want to show consumers how we do things on our farm, and that's the most important thing. And so
we're just going to keep posting
because the reach is great. We love making content, and so we love sharing our story.
Our brand is more important. Our story and our brand is more important than the money we get
the short-term money that we get from Facebook. Exactly. Yep. So
I love ramen. I can eat ramen every night.
Exactly.
Just keep getting me a bale of ramen.
Just got to keep the machine going. That's all that matters.
Chicken and beef.
There you
Don't
go.
like the shrimp ramen.
Nope.
Shrimp ramen sucks.
All right. We'll keep her moving here. How's that old fashioned? Are you downed it? Will you need a refill?
Might have to pour a refill.
Do you need a little break?
You give me the question, and then I'll get you on the next one.
All right. Garrett asked, Sawyer and Torque, what do you guys do for health insurance as entrepreneurs? Is Sawyer on Torque's until 60 years old? Or 26 years old? Or does he have his own plan? If Sawyer is on Torque's insurance, what is the plan for the future?
Yep. Speaking of eating ramen every night, anybody that buys their own insurance knows what a pain in the ass that is. So.
Here's a tip for you. Just go out and marry somebody that has really great benefits at a hospital.
That's a great idea. Why don't you do that?
I'm working on it.
Yeah, so Garrett, so this is crazy, or it might sound crazy, but honestly, like one of the reasons why it took me so long to come back to the farm full time is because when you go down the road of working for somebody else, or you have a job that has good benefits, there's this little voice in the back of your head when you want to quit, when you want to do something else, and everybody will tell you this. Anybody you talk to will tell you this, and it's also chirping in your head, yeah, but boy, the insurance is good. You know, the benefits are good. The last job I had, one of the reasons that I went there and didn't just come home full-time at that point was, oh boy, it'd really be nice to have something with benefits with insurance until my kids are grown, till they're out of school. And when that ended, I had to go get insurance. And so this will do farm. So our farm entity pays the insurance for for Sawyer and Trisha and I, my wife and I. And my oldest son, Clay, he was on our plan until he started his own business, and insurance is fairly cheap, for young people, but it's a number. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's a number, but it's not. And we're lucky in that we're all healthy. Like we haven't had any real health issues that would cause our insurance to go high. Because I've got neighbors. I've got friends of mine that have had kids that have had some medical issues, and their insurance is outrageous. I mean, I want to say we pay $1,500 or $1,600 a month now for insurance for all of us. And don't get me wrong, I mean, that's a number. But if I was working for somebody today, I'd be paying part of that anyway. Not very many places can you go get a job today where they pay 100% for a family plan. You're paying, a lot of them are, yours is free, but you're paying for the spouse and the children or whatever. And to me, that's just an expense. That's like a freedom payment that I don't have to work for somebody else. I'm working for myself. It probably isn't going to get any better. And I don't know what the answer is. I imagine, next year it'll be more than what it is this year. And it's kind of like everything. Every year, the cost of doing business gets higher, and you just hope that somehow you can squeeze a little extra money out of whatever you're doing. And in our situation, I mean, that's part of the reason why we're doing all the other things that we are, is because a smart guy that I worked for, he always said, if you're not growing, you're dying, even a little bit. If you're not growing a little bit every year, you're dying. And so, every year we just try to find a way that we can make a little more money for This'll Do, or This'll Do Pork, or TDF Media, or whatever, to help offset that cost. But yeah, the long-term plan probably would be, we hope to grow the social media side to where we kind of just had this conversation today. Our goal would be, at some point, we'll probably all be employees. An ideal situation is for us to all be employees of TDF Media and kind of have that be the entity that's paying the insurance side. And it wouldn't have to be that. It could be This'll Do Farm. It could be something else that we're doing. But
well, I mean, for me personally, like I said, I got a kick-ass girlfriend that works part-time at the university, and she has phenomenal benefits. So when we get married, and I'm going to have great insurance.
Until you hire
until she's like, I'm out of there.
Until you hire full time.
Until I hire full time, then I'll have to. We'll figure something out. But for the mid long term plan, that's my plan, is hopping on Kat's benefits when we get married and seeing how long we can ride the wave. We'll probably have as many kids as we can in a short amount of time, and then once they're all out, we'll be like, all right, we're out of. She's like, we're out of here. So, and then it'll just come down to what entity makes the most logical sense to pay the insurance.
And I suppose when it switches to where Sawyer's the one that is running the entity that's paying the insurance, I'll just get real nervous every time that I see him walking around with a gun. I'll be like, well, guess he got the insurance bill. It's time to put Torque out to pasture.
You better watch yourself on the ladder going up to the bin. Might give it a couple shakes.
That's right. Jim asks, what do you do with your dead pigs? Do you compost them, burn them, put them in the landfill?
We eat them.
Yep.
We just eat them. We just eat them.
We get them quick.
Yep.
Pig drops over dead, we're putting him in the smoker.
If you are listening or watching, this is sarcasm. I know that that's not very common in today's society, but we do not eat the dead pigs if they die.
The one person that didn't even think about that twice was Growing Corn 2020.
Yeah,
he was listening. He got that right away.
Like,
yep, 100%.
Jay probably got it too.
Yeah, he did.
Jay knew.
Yep,
he knew we knew we were sarcastic there. We have bins. We have these dumpsters that we work with. Darling. This company Darling, and they come and they pick up our dead stock every week. You fill up the bins, the dumpsters with the deads, and they come and pick them up, and they take them to their facility, and they make them into all kinds of products that you use with dead livestock. Because there's a lot of stuff that people don't realize, everyday products that are made because of American agriculture and dead livestock. So that's what we do, but, we've thought about it. We don't love that model because if you have a bunch of sick pigs everywhere and there's pigs dying, sometimes those dumpsters can fill up. And when we got 4 sites and you got, there's a lot of pigs on our farm. And at any given time, we can have around 10,000 pigs here. So, doesn't take too many deads to fill, and depending on what size they're at.
Dumpster's not very big either.
Right. I mean, depending on what size they're at.
Yeah.
If you have 2 barns with fat hogs, it takes 2 hogs to fill one dumpster.
Yeah. So, for reference, that's right. One of these dumpsters,
you can fit 3 fat hogs, 4 fat
pig,
hogs.
3 pigs in there would be about max.
Yeah.
Now, if you got wiener pigs, you can throw all kinds of wiener pigs in there. The other thing we don't like about it is you're dependent on these people to show up and dump these dumpsters.
That's what I was getting at.
And during COVID,
Yeah,
they couldn't keep drivers, and you're kind of on your own. We actually did compost some pigs. We have a pad of concrete where we can compost. It's just compost is one of those things that's not a maintenance-free deal because you have to turn that pile, add wood shavings as you need, and then when it is composted, you have to haul that out. So it's not – the dumpsters are an easy solution. They're just – one, the optics of it are not good because we don't want the dumpsters way back in the back of our farm because you don't want the truck from the rendering company driving through all of your hog buildings with dead animals in it that you could get some disease from. I mean, probably not going to happen, but could. So you want to get them, like they're on the edge of our property, but then you've got them where people driving by can go, oh, well, Whistler's got a bunch of sick pigs because their dumpsters are full.
Right.
And you don't like that. And you got to depend on them to come and get it. So it's the best solution for us right now. I suppose long-term compost would be the best.
Yeah.
It's just
building that infrastructure.
Yeah. I mean, it probably is the direction that we'll go eventually is composting them.
One thing is for sure, though, it doesn't matter what method you choose. They all stink.
They do all stink.
They all stink.
Yeah, you touched on that, but that rendering thing is really interesting because a lot of people don't realize all of the products that come from that industry. And it's not just pigs that die on farms. When you go to a Sam's Club or a Costco or your local grocery store, when all the meat doesn't get sold on time, they have to throw it out. They throw that all in a dumpster, and that same rendering company comes and gets all of that meat. They get all that stuff, and it goes through the same process as animals that die on farms, And makeup uses a lot of oil products that come from recycled dead animals. There's a lot of women out there that are crying right now because they didn't realize it. There's a lot of pet food.
Well, there's a lot
of pet food.
There's a lot of men dressed up as women crying too now.
That's true. We're equal opportunity, so all of them can be
Can't
upset.
Exclude them, Dad.
Nope, that's right.
No excluding.
That's right.
Classes of society.
Maybe we need a makeup artist. Am I looking too pale? Let us know in the comments.
You don't have a problem looking too pale. Sometimes you look a little orange. I'm always looking like a marshmallow.
Maybe we should get a makeup
My
artist.
complexion is ass.
Well, your face does kind of look like your ass. Sometimes you can't tell. I can't really tell which ends.
I don't tan worth a crap, so I just burn.
Yeah.
I just burn.
Anyway, that was a little bit of a tangent we got off, but we render our dead stock, and those products get used throughout a lot of things in this country are made from.
Honestly, if you want to really know, just look it up on Google or wherever. Yep. And DuckDuckGo, and you will find the answer of what all those products are, because there is a shitload of products. So just look that up.
Some of you will go, oh!
Yep. Then you'll probably take them out of your house. But you know what? They've been doing it for years. So, all right, moving on. You better pour up. You better get a drink. I'll keep them entertained.
Okay, sounds good.
Jeopardy music.
La la. How about the Smurfs? La, la,
I don't know this. I don't know the Smurfs.
La, 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 la.
I don't know that one. Are you feeling any pain?
Nope,
what's your pain? What's your pain level right now?
Well, I think that tonight we're gonna go out for supper with good friends of ours. This isn't one of those dinners that there's gonna be any struggle.
You can be yourself.
Yeah, I can be myself.
Or if you're always yourself. It's just whether someone likes you or not, depending on who you are.
I am always myself. Occasionally, someone in our family will either rub my arm or
dirty eyeball,
or rub my leg or squeeze my leg. Or,
I don't do that.
Or give me a hairy eyeball, and that's the sign of no. No. Don't.
Well, the problem with that is, here's a great little side note story is, sometimes he does not read people, like, he doesn't read into the situation enough. As far as when I wrecked my four-wheeler when I was in 7th grade, going into 7th grade, this is a kind of a funny story. And I got ruptured my spleen, and I got up and I went into intensive care, and I had to get surgery to repair my spleen, stop the internal bleeding. I was so lubed up on drug, and I was like, I was out. Yeah, I was out, but I was kind of in and out of it. I don't remember what age I was. What was I, 12, 13, 12 years old? And they come out of surgery, and they tell mom and dad that your boy is just so nice. He's so respectful.
So polite.
And dad looks at the lady and goes, it's because we beat him. And that, I know, everybody knows that knows Torque knows that's his bullshit sarcasm, you know. But
she did not.
She did not get it. And that is a perfect example of, you just got to know who you're talking to sometimes.
Yeah.
And so that's where you get,
yeah.
You got to read into people.
That's true. I just assume that everybody knows if I'm kind of shitting them a little bit, and some people don't.
It's lost today. It's a lost art.
It is kind of lost today. And in that situation, it was really bad because not only did that nurse not enjoy that phrase, but then I had to deal with mother whistler concerned that social services was going to show up at the hospital room to interrogate us. Wondering why our son needed surgery. Was it really a four-wheeler accident, or did the dad kick him? Yeah, it wasn't good. So yes, I understand what you're saying. Anyway, I'll be fine, and
none of that. Nobody will get anything confused tonight.
Nothing will happen tonight, and I won't have any trouble keeping the conversation going.
Hey, this is going pretty well. I've only stumbled my words about 2 times, so that's good. If you gotten this far, leave a review on Spotify or Apple. It really helps us out, guys. That's all I ask. Now, let's get back to the podcast. In reference to the last Hot Topics, Aaron asked, which I saw this, he put it on Spotify. So if you're listening on Spotify and you want to let us know what you thought of the episode, give us any of your thoughts, you can go on Spotify and let us know on there. This came from that. Aaron asks, who determines who is mentally unstable when it comes to our last Hot Topics episode when we were talking about gun control? Who determines who is mentally unstable if you want a gun? Are you then mentally unstable if you want to own a gun? What if a transgender person is mentally ill? Is anyone willing to put their license at risk to declare that today? Won't they be labeled a transphobe?
Yeah.
There's a lot of contradicting.
Kudos to him because I didn't really think that through, but that is so true. So we were talking about how that between both parties in our two-party system, one of the things that has really fallen through the crack is mental health. Both sides of the aisle, no resources are being committed to mental health. And as a result, you have the chances of someone who definitely should be institutionalized, that could be a threat to themselves or to others, just out, in everyday life, or 2, someone who is mentally ill, not in the right frame of mind, able to purchase a gun. And that sounds like something. Well, we need to better fund mental health facilities and psychiatrists and people that evaluate people. But his point is, that's only as good as the people that are doing the evaluating, and what's
their politics look like?
What's the politics? Because, so now everybody that wants to own a gun, are you mentally ill if you want to buy a gun? And then 2, if someone that is mentally ill
is in a specific class, a society,
that is we can't.
Yeah, we can't say shit to that class because their perceived hate is at a high level right now.
If
you're a transphobe, you're a transphobe because you won't let me have a firearm.
Right. You're
If
only declaring me mentally unfit because I'm trans.
or because I'm black,
Or this,
because I'm
or
this,
that.
or I'm Hispanic, whatever, right?
So I hadn't even thought about that.
that and honestly, when we said, we should have stricter gun laws as far as we should do background checks on people, right? These are all things that you can easily just say, but like it's exactly what when you get down to the details of it, what's it actually look like? Is it corrupt? Is the person evaluating somebody corrupt when they want to buy a firearm? All these things. That's where, back to what the NRA said, NRA doesn't want to give an inch because...
And I think he brings up an excellent point, because I think that more than anything else kind of says where we are as a society, in the fact that things that were just like that you didn't give a second thought to 20 years ago or even 10 years ago, now you can't take that for granted. So in other words, you can't take for granted that the department of the government or your state that would be in charge of overseeing the mental health evaluations and the standards and all that, you cannot take for granted that those regulations are put through under honest intentions. So is that board or that group or that the people overseeing that, are they politically biased? And if they are, can you trust them?
Right.
And the truth is,
there's a lot of corruption and a lot of stuff.
There's no trust left.
Right.
And so that's really scary, because that's how you have society start breaking down. When you have no
trust in what the government.
When you have no trust in your elected leaders, but even more so, you don't have trust at the levels of government that are closest to you and I. Mm-hmm. It's one thing to have a grain of salt when you're thinking about your elected officials, which I think that's somewhat healthy. They need to prove to you that they do have your best interest in mind. But when you don't have any faith in your local board of, your board of supervisors, your school board, your, whoever at the state level is giving the regulations on mental health evaluations, then we got a real problem. Mm-hmm. And I think we have a real problem.
Yep.
So thank you for that, Aaron. And like Sawyer said,
we don't have all the answers. This is the kind of shit we like to see, guys. We like to see some back and forth. We like that Aaron spoke his mind, because guess what? We hadn't even thought about it that way. There's a lot of things that do your own research. We don't have the answers out here. We're just two farmers from Southeast Iowa coming on a show, dad and son, and we're just giving you our opinions and giving you our thoughts, giving as much value as we can. But we feel like you guys are just as important to this deal than we are. Like what you guys have to say matters to us, and it matters to the show. And if you bring up a good point, we'll shout you out and bring up your good point.
Yep,
absolutely. That's what it is. That's what makes Barn Talk awesome. So, but I think we should end on a gold nugget. We should end on a positive note. Yeah, it's like Dad said in the beginning, we've been doing these hot topics, and I know you guys love these hot topics because I feel like a lot of you can relate. It's back to what we always say. We think hot topics is important because this is the stuff nobody wants to say, but everybody's thinking.
This is stuff you think about when you're out mowing. You're like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you hear somebody say it, you're like, yeah,
yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
So
that's why nice. I think hot topics is so nice, but it is doom and the gloom. I mean, most of the time.
It kind of has been lately. And maybe we should add a segment in there sometime that's and on a positive note. Toxic positivity.
There you go. Maybe we should add a segment. We'll maybe think about that. But truly, guys, with all the shit that's going on in this country and in the world, there's a lot of bad, but there still is a lot of good, and there's a lot of opportunity for your families, for yourself. There's a lot of opportunities to do good. That's the thing. Like, we live in a society in an era now where, like, the amount that a person can achieve now is just insane. The amount that if you want it bad enough, you can learn information like the snap of your finger. You can reach just about anybody you have to reach in a snap of a finger. You can build a website in 3 days. You can find people to build a professional website for you. I mean, there is just so, like, I think we really just don't feel, I really feel like most people don't, like, take a step back.
Are you building a professional website?
I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Anyway, I don't think people step back and look and think about how far we've come as far as, like, Grandpa Lawrence that never had as much opportunity as Dad and I have right now.
100%.
And the past 5 generations have not had as much opportunity as Dad and I have right now, because information wasn't at the snap of their fingers. Reaching somebody wasn't at the snap of their fingers. Like, it's insane. It's insane. And it still is the greatest country to be in the world. I don't care what anybody says, it is. We still are free, although sometimes it feels like our freedoms might be slowly trickling away. But there's no other place I'd rather be to build a business, to raise a family, to make an impact. And I think now is a time that you can really make an impact, because there's a lot of shit out in the world, but there's a lot of opportunity to, like, overthrow that shit, because it's back to what you said. Everybody doesn't, like, trust is what we're lacking.
Right.
And so if you do business, or you start a business, or you are a part of a business that, like, ingrains trust into society, has trust with consumers and customers, and is trying to make a difference here in America and do the right things. Like, that's so rare. That's so cool to be a part of. And that's a huge impact, and you will prosper. So there's some light to the darkness if you want to go after that light in the darkness,
Absolutely.
Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Okay. I'll give you the golden nugget today. So I was thinking about, I don't know what brought this up to me. I think I was actually watching the 70s show, and they were at a high school
show.
It is a great show. And I told Sawyer this, he does not get enough credit for his role in it, but Tommy Chong is in it, and he does a great job. Mm-hmm. He's kind of an unsung hero of that show. But they were at a high school dance, and it got me thinking about when I was in probably 7th grade, going to, I'm not sure what the first dance of the fall semester going back to in 7th grade, but it might have been the Sadie Hawkins dance. I don't know. And I got shot down. The girl there were girls that I guess I would say there were girls that were probably interested in me, but the girl that I was most interested in she did not give me the time of day, and I was pretty distraught about it. And my dad, being significantly older than me, so if I was 14 years old or so, he would have been 66. Let's just say he was 66 years old. He didn't have much time for that. And I was moping around, and my dad just said, what's wrong? And I told him that, I was going to Sadie Hawkins dance. I didn't have a date, and the girl that I asked, she didn't want anything to do with me. And he goes, well, what are you going to do about it? Now, a highly motivated, go get 'em pep talk would have been excellent at that point, and said, you need to take the bull by the horns and all that. But my dad asked me what I was going to do about it, and I'm like, well, nothing. There's not a damn thing I can do about it. She doesn't want to go with me. And he said, well, if I were you, I'd quit moping around and get your ass out there and get back to fishing. And I kind of took that like, well, yeah, that's kind of right. Well, today is the exact same thing. We all have stuff that happens that, we have things we want to accomplish, things that we think are going to happen. We see it all the time. We have opportunities that come along, and we're like, oh, yeah, that's going to be great, and this is going to happen. And then guess what? The follow-through isn't very good, and what we think's going to happen is not what happens. And you got to just keep fishing. You just got to keep fishing. You just got to keep going, because there's no positive outcome of moping around and complaining about what didn't happen. You just got to you got to find something else to happen, something else positive, make something else positive, keep trying, keep fishing. So that's my golden nugget.
Keep fishing.
Keep fishing. And I will give the freezer old-fashioned recipe quick. This is one of the smartest hacks. Who says that TikTok is not good for anything? Because I've learned more good bar recipes from TikTok, and recipes in general. Not necessarily healthy recipes, although they're out there, but damn good recipes. Anyway, I saw a recipe for a freezer old-fashioned, and I was like, I'm going to try that. And that is the handiest damn thing, because you can make an entire bottle of old-fashions, and you put it in the freezer, and it'll stay good for, well, the bottle will be empty before it's going to go bad. Let's just put it that way. And so, like, you take our family on a night when we're feeling celebratory, and, you know, we don't drink that much, but once in a while, if we're all going to have a cocktail, you got to make 4 old-fashions. It's a lot of work, and when you're torque, you'd rather be running your mouth than making old-fashioned. So this is handy. So basically, you take any good bottle of bourbon, whiskey, whatever. I've got Nom Creek single barrel, and you pour out, let's just say you pour out 2 ounces, and I would probably sample that 2 ounces to make sure that I made a good decision in using this bottle. But you can do with it whatever you want. You could actually make 1 old-fashioned and then do this with the rest. And then you put in, basically, I think you put in 20 dashes of regular bitters. 20 dashes of orange bitters, and maybe like 30 dashes of orange bitters, which really it comes down to your preference. You know, how you make a regular old-fashioned as far as the amount of bitters you do, just multiply that by about, I want to say about 16. I think you can get about 16 old-fashions out of one of these. Probably not the way that I poured them today, but under normal circumstances. And then simple syrup. And I've gone to making my own simple syrup because I just think it's better than bought, and it's so easy. Basically, you just take a cup of sugar. I use the brown, the Damara sugar.
Fucking recipe inside a recipe.
Yeah, it's good. So you just mix that with an equal part of hot water on the stove, and just keep stirring it till it all gets it all breaks down, and then let it cool. Put it in a bottle. Put it in the fridge. It's good to go whenever you need it.
Pour that shit in your old-fashioned.
Pour that in your old-fashioned, and then the secret is you put a little bit of that syrup that is in the Luxardo cherries. And if you're not using Luxardo cherries, then kiss my ass, because the other ones suck. You want the dark cherries. Those are way better. Put just a little bit of that cherry juice in there, that syrup, and that kind of gives it that rich color.
Shake that bitch.
Shake that up. Well, you don't really, just turn it a little bit, and then
put it in the freezer.
Put it in the freezer, and anytime that you want an old-fashioned, put your ice in your glass, pour out as much as you want.
Now, do you recommend when you get the bottle done, you have to freeze it to let it sit? Or can you just pour one up right there?
Oh, no, you can pour one, because it's just like you mixed it.
Yeah.
You can pour one right there, and then just put the rest in the freezer, and then I slice. So if I know I've got people coming over, I'll have some oranges sliced up and have my jar of Luxardo cherries, and I put 2 cherries in an old-fashioned because I really like them. So, you know, have one on the front end, one on the back end, and you can't beat it. So that's kind of your whiskey minute for the day.
That's a whiskey tip.
Yeah, it is.
I like it.
It's damn good.
You know what? When
Like
we have a Barn Talk VIP exclusive listener access invitation party here, you'll have to cut a fuckload of oranges.
We will. We'll just make
We'll get a shitload of whiskey glasses, get a lot of oranges. We'll cut them because you're going to have to make a shitload of old fashions.
We might just have to make an old fashioned and a solo cup.
We better just, we're going to have to get the bar built before that ever happens. But it's something that we've thought about, guys. You know, it'd be cool someday, like
a meet and greet.
Meet and greet, have it in the barn, drink some whiskey, smoke some meat, talk politics, talk farming, just get some like-minded people together, have a good time. That doesn't mean show up unless you're invited, because we like the Second Amendment. So
and the 100%. And the old fashions would be free for liability reasons. We don't want to charge you. We don't want to charge you for that drink and be liable. So it would be part
on
of
the house, baby.
It'd be on the house. So.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up. So those were some really, really great questions. If you want to submit your questions for us to answer them, please submit them at barntalkshow@gmail.com, or, that's the best way you can submit them. If you want to reach out to us on Instagram and Facebook, no guarantee that we'll see them, but barntalkshow@gmail.com. Pay the fee, guys. Share it out with your friends, family, coworkers, employees, whoever, and leave a review on Spotify, Apple, and we'll see you back here next week for another episode.